All right, everybody, let's do it.
All right,
Season
hello.
2, episode 8 of the Nikki and Fitz podcast. This week I'm sporting Oregon for the big W and Northwestern because they took my Terps out.
Right,
But underneath, a little pit
Pitt.
too.
Right,
Still
see,
undefeated.
right.
So sporting all the teams that I thought had a good week last week. Somehow my gear always matches up with teams that I have a lot of college gear, so
You
I could
do.
always figure it out. But this week it worked out good, and this hat Yeto got me when he was in Oregon while his daughter was in school there.
All
All
right,
right, let's start with the Heisman update, Nikki.
all
Really,
right.
Ashton Genty's the only one that made any damage on the Heisman. 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quinn Ewers had a pretty good game, I thought, didn't you? Coming off injury.
Yeah, yeah. He's a good player. He's an excellent player. He's
Yeah,
played a lot of college football.
yeah. He was a little rusty in the beginning, and then he picked it up. He had 199 yards and 1 touchdown. I think he's kind of back in the hunt for the Heisman because they're going to be the number one team in the country for a little bit.
Right.
So that keeps him in the limelight, obviously. Jalen Milrow, another great game. That guy just doesn't want to lose, man. He plays so hard. He took a beating in that game, though. Did you watch
Right.
any of that? I watched a bunch of
I
that.
watched a good amount of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good
Speaking of
game.
South Carolina, you never know what you're going to get.
They are unbelievably predictable.
Right.
And Travis Hunter got hurt again,
Yeah.
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I think he needs to pick a side of the ball. Two
Right.
ways. He's just getting beat up so hard both ways.
Yeah. He's playing every play.
Right. And he doesn't mind as a cornerback getting in there and making tackles. It's not like he's not
Yeah.
Deion Sanders. He's in there hitting
Right.
people. So
Right.
I think
Yeah.
I think he's out of the discussion because I think he's gonna be out for a little bit. But too bad. I mean, he's gonna be a great
Right.
NFL player, obviously.
Right.
So, all right, Nick, tell us what the playoff predictions. It's like a big juggling machine every week, right?
Right.
So, well, who do we got in this
Right,
week?
from the top. So in the
Come to a head here.
eighth position, the University of Alabama Crimson Tide
Yep,
versus in the ninth position, the Louisiana State University Fighting Tigers.
yep,
Seven is the University of Georgia Bulldogs. 10 is the uh, Clemson University Tigers in a rematch of the season opener way back in first week in September.
yep,
Um, Number six is the Ohio State Buckeyes. 11 is the Tennessee Volunteers. 5, 12 is the Penn State Nittany Lions. And 12 is the Boise State Broncos. And then the four that would get the first round bye is four would be the Iowa State Cyclones, three, the Miami Hurricanes, two, the Oregon Ducks, and one is the Texas Longhorns.
yeah. Some good projected games.
Right,
Top four look pretty strong. Iowa
right,
State still undefeated, and we're at
right,
the halfway point now, Nick.
right,
Here we go.
right.
So if college football was a week, we're at Thursday morning, right? Would you say?
Yeah,
So it's a
basically,
Monday
yeah,
to Sunday week. I would say we're
right,
Thursday morning, and we're starting to see some things. I think we're
right,
starting to. I mean, there's still some teams that are completely unpredictable. That
right,
you don't know what you're going to get from week to week, right?
right.
But there are
South
teams that start.
Carolina looking at you.
Yeah, I mean South Carolina. I mean Tennessee. What is
Right.
up with them? Um, so do you think Shador Sanders is the best player in the country?
I think so because I mean he's like the whole defense is geared to stopping him. And
And they have no offensive line.
every week he plays great. I
Yeah,
mean, he completes passes, he's running all over the place. He's a tremendous player.
yeah. Their left tackle, a kid named Seaton, is from DC that Maryland recruited hard, and he's a true freshman starting at left tackle, and I think he's getting beat pretty hard. Jordan Seaton.
Right.
So that's tough. He's very good though. He looks like an NFL quarterback is what he looks like. Big, strong, can throw the hard inside pass, can throw the long ball. I don't know if he's the best player in the country. I would prefer, I think Ewers is I think, a better quarterback. Um, but they're both NFL ready,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
Let's talk about the service academies, Nick. I know you have a soft spot in your heart for the service academies. You always have, by the way.
Right. Right.
So they're both undefeated, man.
Yeah. So there, I guess, yeah, as people know, there are three of them. There's the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, which is they're a little bit behind. They're not undefeated, but there's
Right.
the two teams in the East is in Annapolis, the Naval Academy, and in West Point, New York, is the United States Military Academy, the Army,
Yeah.
and they're both undefeated, both ranked in the top 25, and then they both play Notre Dame later this year,
Those
and then
that'll be an interesting game to get Notre
yeah,
Dame, man. I think
yeah,
they always play Notre Dame tough unless that they're completely overmatched. But
right,
that game could be close. I'm interested to see what
right,
that line's going to fall at.
right.
So here's an interesting dynamic. If one of them runs the table and goes undefeated, they'll be the 12th seed, right? Based on
That sounds right.
how it's
Yeah,
picked, they'll be the
right,
highest of the remaining four.
right.
So here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Nick. The selection, I think, is the ninth or 10th or something. It's the week before they play on the 14th. So say they pick Navy and then Army beats them. That's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they leave the slot open until the game is decided. You're right. I'm not sure.
Maybe,
Uh,
but the other problem with that is that first playoff game is the 20th.
right. So you got
So
to, yeah, you got to,
I don't know. I think
right,
they didn't think they would be this good, to be honest with
right,
you.
right.
They're probably hoping
Yeah,
that
it's going to be a dilemma. Yeah,
they lose to Notre Dame. Both of them lose to Notre Dame is what they're hoping.
right,
I would think at this point.
right.
So who's left that's undefeated, Nikki?
So you got some of these are the usual suspects: Texas, Oregon, coming off the big win on Saturday against Ohio State at
It's all
home.
about the O.
Right. Penn State, the University of Miami in Florida, the Iowa State Cyclones, BYU, which was unexpected,
Yeah.
Indiana, which is unexpected, um, Pittsburgh Panthers, unexpected, and then Army, Navy, and Liberty University, which is a religious school in Virginia.
They're always good in football, though.
Right,
All right, so we got a bunch of undefeated still, which is good.
right,
Um, let's wrap up week 7. We got to start with the game, right?
right,
And also our lock of the week, which I thought was a little aggressive on your part.
right.
But
No,
and
I
I
mean,
and I picked Oregon in that game,
you're
unfortunately.
right. No, hey, I tip my hat to you. You did it right.
I just thought um, Ryan Day has not come up big in these big games. I'm sorry.
Right,
He's got better talent than some pro teams.
right,
All right. And he just for some reason locks up in these big games, man. And I think Dan Lanning outplayed him.
right,
Outplayed him. Outcoached them.
right.
Outcoached them, not outplay them. Outcoached them. But Oregon really, I mean, their home crowd was incredible. I mean, that was a really, really good game.
Right,
That was as good as Georgia, Alabama in
right.
terms of talent, in terms of crowd, in terms of play. I thought that was a high level game with a bunch of NFL guys everywhere, right? I mean,
Definitely.
you had a guy from Oregon spitting in the Ohio State DB's face, which
Right,
I'm not a fan of that shit. I mean, give me a
right.
break. The guy was thrown out of the game. If I was landing, I would suspend him as well. But
Right.
that's here nor there.
No, he should be suspended
Yeah, yeah. I
for
mean, a lot
doing
of
that.
big plays. Obviously, it was a good game. I just didn't like Ohio State in that game, and I didn't think they'd been tested all year either. Neither really had Oregon, but I just thought playing at home is a huge advantage, man. I mean,
You're
and the
right.
travel,
You're right
man.
every which way. I mean,
The
you know,
travel, I keep harping on that. And I don't know if you saw, but they started harping on the Big Ten Network saying teams that have traveled from coast to coast were like 1-8 going into last weekend. 1-8.
right,
And we've been talking about that since week 1, right?
right,
How the travel's wearing these teams out. I mean, UCLA's back on the East Coast at Rutgers this week. I mean,
Right,
they're playing ping pong with the East and West Coast
right,
every single week. I mean, their players got to be exhausted. I mean, I've done that flight for work,
right,
and with a 3 day turnaround, it beats you up. I've done it when I was
right,
young, and it beats you up. So
right,
I mean, I think that's an issue that I guess they didn't figure out when they're cashing those checks.
right.
LSU Ole Miss, another great game. Ole Miss showed up, LSU showed up. That went back and forth.
Yeah,
Great.
that was an old time
Yeah,
fight in down in the mud in a 100-year-old Tiger Stadium.
yeah,
Saturday night, humid out, a lot of drinking, and it was a great game. I mean,
yeah. I agree. And
Garrett Nussmeyer, he plays his ass off, man.
he plays hard. He took some hits too.
Right.
I mean,
He
those
always
teams
takes
were
hits.
killing each other.
Yeah.
I think Lane Kiffin. I mean, what's now he's got two losses. He's out of the playoff hunt at this point. They still got to play Bama. They still got to play Georgia, and they're going to
Right.
lose one of those two. They're not going to win them both, right?
Right.
They win them both. They're back in the playoff contention. But I think they're going to lose one of those two. It gives them three losses. They're done. They're done. And I think
Right.
he stays there. I mean, they're not Bama or Georgia, man. Come on, they're Ole Miss.
Right. Right.
9-3, 8-4. That's what they should expect. Even though
Right.
one thing you did say that makes sense is they've spent a lot of money on the
Right.
transfer portal, on recruiting. I mean, they have opened the wallets there. So
Right. Oh yeah, they're spending big time.
yeah, yeah.
They-
For that kind of product, they're probably a little pissed off, I would think.
right. Right.
Um, Maryland Northwestern, just maybe one of the worst losses I've seen at Maryland in 42 years as a fan, 41 years as a fan. I
Yeah.
was
So,
completely demoralized. I mean, I am financially and emotionally broke from this team. I can't do it. I've given so much of the university and the program, and all they do is kick me in the teeth every time I think we're turning the corner. I get kicked in the teeth every single year, man. It's just I'm almost at the point where I'm done, and I think Loxley's going to get shit canned at the end of the year. I really do. I mean, they're talking $23 million buyout. There's no way Maryland would never do that. Maryland doesn't do that. Maryland's a cheap school. They don't have any money. Blah blah blah. I think he goes, and I also think Damon Evans goes as well. I think it's a full clean slate.
wow. All
Yeah, I
right.
don't think Willard goes, but I think those two are gone at the end of the year. It's too bad. I really like Locks. Get this shit, man. This is, I mean, because I'm so connected with the program, I texted him on Sunday night, Loxley, and I
Yeah.
said, tough loss last night. Maybe it's time to see what MJ Morris and Cam have in the tank, right?
Right.
Our backup quarterbacks. What do we have to lose? At this point, we're staring at 4-8 if we're lucky,
Right.
possibly 3-9, right?
Right.
Why not see what you got with these guys who are your future? Because Billy's out of thing. He just sent texts me back question mark.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, all right. You obviously are so close to the fire that you don't see the shit burning all around you.
Right.
But the fans are revolting at this point. They're revolting, and we'll
All
see.
right.
We'll see Saturday night. Um, coming off a bye week on top of it. That's right. I forgot about that part. You got 2 weeks to prepare for a bad Northwestern team, and you get boat raced at home on
Right.
primetime TV. You're the only game in the whole country. Everyone's
Right.
watching who's a college football fan. How embarrassing. I mean, I'm just like, I feel bad I'm embarrassed. I am. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm embarrassed as a fan. I'm embarrassed as an
Excuse me.
alum. I'm embarrassed that I keep throwing money at it and my emotional, you know, hardware toward this university who keeps fucking me. That's what
Right.
I'm a little upset. That
Right.
loss was ugly. We had a great tailgate. I made gyros. I mean, it was really first class. Friday night game, right? We're the only game in town. Plenty
Right.
of booze. Everyone's having a good time. And then you walk in, you watch that product, and you're like, "What am I doing here, man? Am I that
Right.
stupid?" So terrible, terrible L. That's why I'm wearing the Northwestern shirt today to represent them because they kicked our ass.
They did.
All right, I got to talk about the Penn State USC game. I know you saw
Okay.
it. I saw it. Unbelievable game. Drew Aller finally stopped being checked down Kathy, started throwing the ball downfield. He looked pretty good. He looked like an NFL quarterback. What do you think about Drew?
Yeah, he's played a lot of football. He's a good player.
Yeah,
He'll play in the NFL. He'll have a good career.
it was a coming out party of him from sorts, though,
Yeah,
I thought. I mean, that this was his best game as a Penn State Nittany Lion, don't you think?
right. No, definitely.
And then Tyler Warren, obviously, tight end, was unbelievable. 17 catches, 224 yards. I mean, that's just those are big numbers for a tight end. He's a tight end by size, I guess, but he runs like the wind. He looks like a receiver come,
Right.
go downfield. I mean,
He's played everywhere. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
USC had
from
no
down by
answer.
Richmond.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
And then here we go with Iowa State undefeated again.
Right.
I mean,
Just he's Matt Campbell. He's a tremendous coach. He's
yeah,
in Ames. There's not a lot of media, but he's got to share the state with Iowa. It's a tough job at Iowa State, and he just does a great job.
he just wins games, Nick.
Right. Right.
That guy's 10-2, 9-3 every year.
Right.
I don't think he's ever gone 11-1, but this year he's undefeated. Schedule's kind of easy. I don't know, man. I think they may be in the playoff. They're
Right.
definitely in the picture already. I mean, they're in as of today. Um, so you think I don't know. I like Neil Brown at West Virginia, man. I think he's a
Oh, I
good
do
coach for
too. But
them.
I think in the notes, just so people know, I wrote a note about if you're Neil Brown at West Virginia, do you look to leave? I mean, the fans there seem to have crazy ideas
Yeah,
that they're like Nebraska or Miami, and
right,
they don't have enough players in the state of West Virginia to be like that. I mean,
right,
he's doing a good job, and they're like, "Oh man, we expected to win the Big 12. Come on, man, that's not happening."
right. I agree. No, I agree. I think he's
You
doing a good
know,
job there, and they
he
play
is
everybody tough and they play hard. They're
right,
not they're not Maryland. They're not laying down against teams and playing soft.
right,
That team plays hard every single game for him.
right,
Now, they don't win a lot of these games, but they're playing hard. And that's always to me the key to whether you're a good coach or not. If your team's still playing hard, even though you suck because you're not talented enough, I think that's a good sign, man, that your team's playing hard for you. Notre Dame keeps rolling. They're beating up on all the softies. What do you think about ND though? Are they going to get in the playoff as of right now? I think we got them in, right?
I think so.
No,
Yes, I
they're
mean
they're
they're
out
gonna
right
have.
now. They're out
Oh,
right
okay,
now. As of right now, because they're not in a
right,
conference, so they're out right now, but they're like right down the bubble. I think they're the first team out or something.
right. I would expect them to be there in the end.
If they beat Army, Navy,
Right,
USC, right?
right.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I hope they're in there. I mean, I don't think they have a chance to win it, but when Notre Dame's in it, it's always more interesting to me, and I think to the fans around the country. Um, yeah, Texas, the Red River was nice to watch. I watched a bunch of that, but I didn't realize Oklahoma was missing so many players, man.
Yeah, they have bad injuries at wide receiver,
Yeah,
and I guess they brought in this young quarterback, Jackson Arnold, and
and
it hasn't really
Hawkins
worked
too.
out.
And
What?
Hawkins started that game.
Yeah, Hawkins is also a freshman.
Yeah,
I think Arnold's a redshirt freshman. He was in the program last year. Hawkins was in high school last year,
right.
but yeah, I think they're still Oklahoma. They're not
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to
they got dudes.
fall apart.
They got dudes, and they got a top 10 recruiting class coming in,
Right,
and they'll get guys in the portal because they're Oklahoma. They got money. They got oil money. I mean,
right,
they're not Texas money, but they have everything in the state is being thrown their way or Okie State, and Okie State
right,
is like the ugly stepsister. So
right.
mostly Oklahoma. So I agree. I think they'll
But
be fine.
Okie State has two words, three words, Boone Pickens Estate. Mhm.
But the thing of it is with Oklahoma is Venables the guy there. I mean, he hasn't won at all there. Nothing.
Right,
And
right,
they got dudes and they got
right,
money and they got the
right,
portal and they got everything.
right.
It's not one there. So I don't know if he's the dude. And they will run him out and pay him off there. They don't give a
Yeah,
shit.
definitely.
Yeah, they don't care. All right. So for the week, you were 8-10. I was 10-10. It was a tough week because I think a lot of teams that have been sleeping woke up and played better this week. To me, it was the best week of games for the year so far.
Oh, definitely. It was fantastic.
Bunch of overtime games, bunch of
Right.
back and forth games. So let's go through them real quick.
Okay.
JMU, you had that nailed. I did not. I thought Coastal would play him tough. JMU looked great. A couple of my
Right.
friends were at the game. They said it was incredible atmosphere. We both took Northwestern because we thought 10 was a big number, and we were right.
Right. Right.
Maryland not only didn't cover, lost the game outright.
Right.
Um, Cam Rising did play, by the way,
He did
and they,
play.
but he's done for the year now.
Right. The poor guy got hurt again.
Yeah, he's
It's
done.
um so they're playing with going with I think what's the kid Zach Wilson, the guy, the former Jet quarterback from
Brother,
BYU. They're going with his younger brother at
right,
quarterback.
right.
But I mean, Utah's nowhere near where I thought they'd be. I mean,
Yeah, same man, same. I saw them play. Who'd they play? Like Washington State, somebody at the beginning of the year, and I thought, wow,
Arizona, yeah,
they're like knocking people around, man. They
right,
look really good. But yeah, they're done. They're done.
right.
Um, and we both played the under and lost by one. It was 45 was the under over under, and it hit on 46. Imagine that, Nick.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
right.
South Carolina, Alabama. We both like South Carolina. 21 points we thought was too much. I told you Alabama isn't quite being the Georgia Alabama. I thought they would take them a few games to get back to there. I was right. They should have lost that game. I don't know if you watched that. It was
Right,
back and forth. And at
right.
the end, South Carolina had a chance. I think they missed the field goal, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah, and Bama beat them. How about that onside kick by South Carolina?
Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable
Unbelievable
play.
with the punter
Yeah,
drop kicking it.
yeah.
It was a thing of beauty with the spinner spinning sideways. That was unbelievable. Great idea. So we both like Carolina. We were good there. Um, Washington, Iowa. You liked Iowa. I liked the under. It went over, so I lost her. You picked Iowa. Good pick. They beat them badly, 40-16. I think Iowa's coming together a little bit. You know that offense is starting to score some points. So here's a game that I really like Rutgers, and I think I talked you into liking Rutgers, and Wisconsin throttled them in
Yeah,
Piscataway.
right,
That's a good win for Whiskey, 42. I think Whiskey's starting to find some things too, Nick. They may be a tough out come the end of the year. You know that?
right. Definitely.
They're starting to play.
We knew that once Luke Fickell got his bye week and got a chance to bring the car into the garage and open up the hood
Yeah,
and fix a few things, that they would be better.
that's
That's
what you
why
said. That's what you
Maryland.
said.
That's why Maryland was. It's so like it's a downer that they had the bye week and they came out and they didn't do well at all.
Yeah, they didn't work on their car at all.
Yeah.
They probably just smoked a bunch of dope and did
Right.
some weed and did some beer
Right.
bongs, and then Kate showed up thinking we're going to
Right.
roll Northwestern. We're Maryland.
Right.
No. California at Pitt. I thought the travel would kill Pitt. I went with the over and Pitt, lost both. You went with Pitt. It was a 3-point spread. Pitt beat them 17-15. Really tough, well played game. I think
Right.
California just ran out of juice. I mean, they're exhausted. Their
Right.
coach even said, "We're exhausted. The
Right.
travel's killing us." He came out and
Right.
just said it. Do you like the under at Penn State, USC? I like USC. I told you I thought they'd play them tough. They actually had a
You're
chance
right.
to win that game. They kind of gave the game to Penn State, but Penn State fought and won that game. I mean, they
Right.
in OT 33-30. I liked USC with the 5.5 points, and they covered. Um, the Red River 50.5. You went with the over. It went under, I think. Yeah, it went under. 34-3 was the final. I also took the over and it went under. I didn't realize Oklahoma had so many injuries. I got to look at that injury report
Right.
from now on. I didn't do that, and that was a mistake. And not that I would have changed my mind, I don't think, but we either took. Did we take? We took Oklahoma, maybe, right? I don't think we took over. I think we took Oklahoma, and
That's
they were a no contest game. I mean, Texas
right.
just rolled them. I mean, that was a beatdown.
Right.
That was like, we're bigger, we're better, we're
Yeah.
faster. We're going to do whatever we want, and you're going to do nothing on offense. And we're going to shut you down. Um, Stanford getting 24 at Notre Dame. You like the under, didn't cover. I like Stanford. I thought they would play them tough. They got throttled 49-7.
Right. Yeah, they only had like 200 total yards offense.
Ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
We both like BYU. We knew Arizona was limping in. They aren't very good. BYU throttled them, man, 41-19. That's a game we probably could have won some money on if we laid some lumber on that.
Right.
We both like Florida to play Tennessee tough, right? Florida, Napier's starting to find some things there, Nick. He's starting to do some
Yeah,
coaching,
he's not gonna he's gonna get canned, but he's not gonna give up.
right?
He's coaching his team the best way he knows how to.
I'm starting to find some new respect for him, to be honest with you. I
Right.
thought he would get cave in like Norville has at Florida State. He's actually fighting for his job and fighting hard.
Right.
I might even think Florida might keep him, but I doubt it because they're so crazed.
Right.
But you like the under, which hit, and I like Florida. I thought Florida were playing 15.5 points. Man, these spreads are just so large. I'm not sure where people making up these spreads, and obviously that didn't come. I won that game. We
Yeah.
both
Good
like.
job.
I like the LSU. You like the under. They both hit. LSU. I just thought they would play really good at home. You know that, and 3.5
Right.
with the hook was a good number. They end up winning outright. And then the game of the week, I liked Oregon. You liked Ohio State. We've talked about this ad nauseum. We know what that's about. We both like Iowa State, and I also like the under. I thought they would play tough defense. No, Iowa State plays tough. WVU plays tough defense, and they beat them 28-16. So it's a double hit for me, the Iowa State and the under. Both like mini. Oh my God, laying 5 points. Mini won by 4.
Yeah.
Freaking Vegas, man.
Yeah.
They know how to drop right on that number.
Right.
Unbelievable. Um, we I like Colorado. You like K-State. I thought Colorado would play tough. K-State's pretty good too. Colorado played good. It was just a back and
Colorado
forth
played
game.
great.
Yeah. They lost 31-28.
Right.
Um, I like Boise, not covering going into Hawaii. Not going big time either. You like Boise. I liked Hawaii and the over. Thought it would be a match, a shootout.
Right.
28-7. Hawaii
Yeah.
played them tough, but you covered by half a point. Nice. And then we know about the lock. 3-4 for
Right.
the season on the lock, Nick. I'm sorry.
3 and 4. Terrible. Terrible.
All right, we're ready to start
Gotta
picking some
get
games.
things squared up this week.
Let's do this thing. We ready?
All right. Yeah. You want to give the lock straight up?
You'd already have the lock?
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Yes, go.
Well, I'm going to go with Oklahoma State plus 9.5 at BYU.
Oklahoma State. You taking Oklahoma State?
Yeah, plus 9.5. What do you think?
Whew.
I get it.
Versus BYU?
Yeah.
I don't. Well, we're playing it. That's our
All
lock.
right. All right.
That's your pick, and we're running with it. So let's just go.
Right.
All right.
All right.
Boston College. Lanes. Are they favored by 7? No. Virginia Tech's favored by 7, right?
I think that's right.
Yeah,
Hang on.
they're Virginia Tech's favored by 7. Boston College is getting 7 at Virginia Tech.
That sounds right. Yeah. The
I
Thursday
like
night game.
I like Boston College there, Nick. I think they're going to play them tough, maybe even beat Virginia Tech straight up. Boston College plays tough football, man. Bill O'Brien's got them believing a little bit, and I think Tech's kind of bad. I don't think Tech's very good, so I think they lose. Definitely the 7 points. I'll take them all day. So, what say you?
I'm going to join you and take the BC plus a touchdown.
Yep. All right. This is as far as I've known. I mean, I've been watching football since the '70s. I know Duke and Florida State haven't only been playing since like the '90s, I guess, when Florida State joined the ACC. Duke is actually favored against Florida State for the first time, I think, ever, right? I mean, you remember that
Yeah, no, they've never. Yeah, they've never been. Yeah, you're right. This has to be the first time that's ever happened.
3.5 points at Duke? I'm
I'm
gonna.
going with Duke.
You're gonna go with Duke?
Yeah.
Okay. I am not.
Okay.
I think FSU finds a weird way to win this game. Let's just say that. I think they're going to
Okay.
win the game in some sort of freaky, messed up, we don't want to embarrass FSU kind of fashion.
Right.
I think
They
I
look. They
think
look better with Brock Glenn at quarterback
nah,
against
I mean I
Clemson.
think Norville's
Yeah.
done, man. I think Norville's
Right.
just not he's lost the team. They're
Right.
not playing very well. I mean, this is not the Duke team with Elko either. Elko's not running the program anymore.
Right.
Elko's was a badass.
Right.
All right. Oregon laying 27.5 at Purdue.
So last week, everybody was like, "Oh, Purdue's terrible. You know, they're going
Yeah,
to lay down at Illinois," and they
great
played
game.
them pretty tough. They came from way back.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had Illinois, it must have been a brutal beat.
Yeah, it
Um,
would end up being a 1 point game in double
yeah,
overtime or something, right? Yeah.
right. Um,
60.5.
I'll take the under.
I'm gonna take Purdue there, Nick, for everything you just
Okay,
said. I don't think they're that bad. And once again, Oregon State's got to travel across the country
right,
to Nowheresville, Indiana, right?
right,
Fly to Indianapolis, get on a plane or get on a bus from there to West Lafayette. It's hard, man. It is hard. Even with the Nike Jet, whatever they're flying, it's still hard. And
right,
these are still kids getting on a plane, leaving. 27.5 is a big number, man. And I think Oregon beats them pretty handily. It's a 17, 21 point win, but there's no way 27.5. And I think Purdue will score against Oregon. Oregon's defense is a little suspect, you know? So that would be my pick there.
good,
So you
good
like
pick. Good work.
Okie State, right?
Yeah,
Nine and
plus
a
nine
half.
and a half. Yeah.
And I like BYU. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think BYU is pretty good.
All right. They
All
are
right.
pretty good. They're
Miami.
undefeated. Now we're
This
moving to the Saturday games.
Yeah, but now we're Saturday. Sorry, that was Friday night late.
Right.
Miami, 5 point underdog favorites at Louisville, at the Ville.
I'm gonna go with Miami here. I think they've got a good game in them.
You do.
Yeah. What do you think?
Miami just scares me, man. I'm going to take Louisville in the 5. I think
Okay.
Miami will win it, but I think it's going to be one of those Miami games recently where they win, but by the skin of their teeth again. I
Right.
just I don't think they really throttle people this year unless they're like low teams. I mean Louisville's pretty decent. They're not great, but they're decent. So I'm going to take the Ville in the 5. This is another great game here. Nebraska 6.5 point underdogs at Indiana. Whoo, whoo. I'm going to take Nebraska in the number there, Nick. I think, and I'm going to take the under.
Okay.
I think
I'm gonna
Nebraska's
take
defense is a
Nebraska.
lot better than Maryland's defense,
Right.
and I think they're going to play Indiana tough. I think Matt Rule has a little something up his sleeve for Signetti here,
Right.
and 6.5 is a lot of points. Nebraska must be like, what the hell?
Right.
6.5? Are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean, we're not Nebraska, not the Tom Osborne Nebraska. We're still a pretty good team here.
Right.
All right, what do you say, you Nick there?
I like Nebraska plus getting six and a bucket of points.
You do like them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This line's moved. It was 3.5, 4.5. Now it's 6.5. Wow. All right. UCLA getting 6.5 at Rutgers. Another team that's ping pong the coast back and forth. UCLA. What do
I'm
you
going to
say?
go with Rutgers here on the idea that UCLA is just shell shocked. I
Yeah.
mean, they've lost to Minnesota. They lost at Penn State. They lost. I forget who they. Oh, they lost the week
Indiana.
before hosting
Indiana.
Oregon. I think they might be done here. I'll go with Rutgers.
So will I. I think Rutgers is really gonna take them out to the woodshed. You know that? I think
Right,
Rutgers is gonna run it right down their throat, just the way Penn State did,
right.
and beat them pretty handily. And I could be a shutout. Actually, I think defensively Rutgers is gonna stomp on them. All right, this is another really good game as well. That's just a game of welcome the SEC, Oklahoma, South Carolina getting 1.5 at Oklahoma, which we know is depleted with injuries. I hate Shane Beamer with a passion, but I think they go in there and they get the W there against Oklahoma. I think they win it straight
Well,
outright.
this is a tough one. I mean,
It is. It
this is
is.
almost a pass,
You can't
but we
pass.
can't pass.
You don't pass. No.
Yeah, we're like the wishbone offense. We don't
Right.
pass. So South Carolina, I'll take South Carolina as well.
You will take South Carolina? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's a good bet, man. I
yeah.
almost think that's almost lock material. I mean,
Right,
Oklahoma, they look like they had nothing. I'll be honest with you. Now,
right,
granted, South Carolina's not Texas, right?
right.
Defensively, but whew, I was embarrassed for them, man.
Right.
All right, Tulsa getting 2.5 at Temple. Tulsa's not very good. Temple's not good, very good. I think Temple beats them here. I think Temple's fine a little something. Um, and I think they win here in Philly. I think they win by
Okay.
10.
I'll take the host Temple.
All right, now we're starting to get the 3:30 game.
Okay. Now
This
we're in
this
the afternoon games.
yeah, this game is tricky as well, man. Big number. Notre Dame favored by 11.5 against Georgia Tech. What do you say?
I think the number is too big. I'm going to go with the Ramblin' Wreck here.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame beats them pretty bad. I'm gonna go with Notre Dame. I just think that Notre Dame's found something. They're beating the crappier teams. The better team's going to give them a good game, but I think Georgia Tech's playing well this year, but yeah, I don't like them in this spot. I think Notre Dame beats them, and because they don't have a home field advantage, to be honest with you. Georgia Tech in Atlanta, they draw 30, 40,000 fans. It's not a
Right.
ruckus crowd there, so
Right.
I don't think that's going to matter. And I think Notre Dame's going to beat them. I think Notre Dame will have as many fans as they do actually at the game. All right, Michigan, another great game. 3-point favorite at Illinois. I'll pick this one first, and I really like Illinois here. And I
I do
think
too. I
I
love
think
Illinois.
they
Yeah.
got something for fucking Michigan.
Yeah.
I think
This is yeah.
Michigan's offensive ineptness is going to come back to haunt them here, and they're not going to be able to do anything against Illinois' defense,
Right.
right?
Correct.
All
We
right,
think we're on the same page.
yeah.
So this brings us to the next game, which is the classic third Saturday in October, which is the Alabama Crimson Tide at Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville.
Favored by 3, Bama,
Right.
and I am going to take the under here.
Okay.
I can't really. If the real Alabama shows up, they roll them. If they go in half, they're going to get beat, man.
Right.
And it looks like the board's having some issues down there with alums and boosters, and I'm just like, you people are crazy. I mean, these
Yeah.
guys he can coach.
Right.
They're questioning whether he can coach in big crowds. Has he ever seen crowds like this in the SEC? He's like, what are you talking about, man? We were in the
Yeah.
finals. Did you forget? Last year,
Right.
Washington was in the finals. Yeah, we could coach against big crowds. What do you say there? What's your pick?
I like the under two.
Yeah. All right. Baylor getting 6.5 at Texas Tech. Texas looks like they found a couple things, and
Right.
I think they beat Baylor pretty handily. Baylor's not very good.
Yeah, Baylor's had some trouble. I think their coach is probably going to get sacked at the end of the year, which is too bad because I think he's a very good coach. Um, but Baylor's done this stuff before. They constantly change coaches, and they just they wonder why they never make any headway.
Right.
I'll take the under there too, under 55 and a half.
You just taking the under, okay?
Yeah,
Another great game, which I call the. Have you been to Tucson before, Nick?
I have, but never for a game.
Yeah, same here. I've been there, not for a game. I'm calling this a road trip. If you're out west and you want to go a really cool town, Tucson's a great town. Great food, great bars, really good college town, man. Like it's a nice town with a college too in it. So it's just not the colleges in the town. I think it's a great city. Little about 50 miles north of Mexico. I like Tucson, had a great family vacation there. I highly recommend it if you're in that area. Tickets are easy to get because of the fact that they're not like big time, you know. So
Right.
I would highly recommend. That would be a fun game to be at against Colorado. Dion and the boys coming into town. I think that would be fun. Um, but I think Colorado spoils the party when they show up. I think they beat them.
I'll take the
Yeah,
over here.
you take the over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I change a pick?
Yes,
I want to take the over on Baylor, Texas Tech,
not
rather
the
than the
under.
under. Yeah.
55 and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're taking the over here too as well.
Right. I always take the under and it screws me up.
No, that's fine. You do always take the under. All right. USC, 7.5 point favorites at Maryland. Maryland's showing nothing against Northwestern. Coach Locke has said that he's made some changes, internal, external. I am going to take Maryland because of the travel that USC
Right.
is traveling across the country. I mean, obviously we have three major airports in DC area, so it's not like flying into like a beatnik town out of nowhere. But I do think that that's grinding on them, and I think they come out a little flat, and Maryland gets them a little bit. So I'm going to take the Terps in the 7.5.
I got to take the Trojans here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And my pick isn't a homer pick. I really
Right.
thought about it, and I really
Right.
like the Trojans to beat Maryland. But I think we're going to play them tougher than we've shown in the past.
We got
Showed
to play somebody tough. I mean, one of these weeks they've got to show some backbone.
right, exactly. I think it's this week.
Right.
JMU 9.5 point favorites at Georgia Southern, which is not a patsy team.
Right.
Does JMU travel and win by 9.5, Nick?
I'll say no. I think Georgia Southern's a tough team.
Yeah, they are 4-2.
Yeah.
I am also going to take Georgia Southern there, Nick.
Right.
I'm with you on that. Um, LSU 2.5 point favorites at Arkansas. What a tough place for LSU to go in after that game last week, right?
Right.
And I like Arkansas here, Nick. I think Arkansas beats them. I think this is
Sam Pittman. I'll take the Razorbacks as well.
yeah, I think they beat them. I think LSU is going to be pretty beat up from that Ole Miss game, and I don't think they have. I think Arkansas catches them. To be
Okay.
honest with you, I think Arkansas catches them a little tired.
But and one of these days, Nussmeier's going to play badly. He never plays badly, but
Yeah, he's a good coach. I mean, he's a
yeah.
good quarterback. All right, and then they're on the road as well, you know,
Right.
and it's a different animal on the road. And Brian Kelly just can't trust him. K State 5 point, I mean a 3 point favorite at WVU
At night.
at night. Yep, in Morgantown. It'll be crazy.
Um, I kind of agree with you say about travel. I think Kansas State played a tough game against Colorado.
Yeah,
Um, West Virginia played against Iowa State as well.
at home and
Yeah, but
lost.
I think West Virginia's in a little better spot here, and I'll take Neil Brown's team.
You're gonna take WVU, okay?
Yeah.
I will not. I'm gonna take K State to beat them there.
Okay.
I don't think they have enough firepower.
Okay.
Um, and I'm also gonna take the under. 55 and a half's a lot for those two
Okay.
teams.
Agreed.
And then here we go, game of the week, last game of the
Right.
that we're
Last game on
picking.
the slate.
Beautiful Georgia at Texas, 5-point favorite for the Longhorns. I have some opinions on this game.
All right. Let's hear them. Bring them.
I like Georgia here.
Okay.
I
I do
think
too.
you do too.
Yeah.
Good. I think Georgia plays the best game of the year, and I think they beat Texas. I think they find something to go in there. I think the Alabama game kind of taught them you can't sleep for a half of football against a good team. And I think Texas is a little high on themselves after beating Oklahoma, which Oklahoma wasn't really tough competition. I think Georgia
Right.
beats them straight up here. I think Georgia's like, hey, man, we've won two of the last three national championships. Texas, settle down. We're still Georgia. And I think they beat them here. And the
I
5 points
agree.
obviously is a great number, I think, for a really good team. I mean, come on. This should have been, I think, a 3-point spread. And basically the 3 points are for home field, right?
Right.
The crowd's ruckus there. But I like Georgia there.
So do I.
I'm
Hey,
glad you do
same
too.
reasons.
Yeah. All right. So now we go into our RIP. We don't have, we didn't see anyone who died that was famous this week, sports wise or sports related. But we have a city this week
Right.
who's at this point has lost all their professional teams,
Right.
football, basketball, and finally baseball. Go ahead, Ken.
Yep. So the city we're talking about is Oaktown, California, in the East Bay of the Bay Area. Um, the sort of the redheaded stepchild compared to flashy San Francisco, but Oakland's a great town. I've been there several times and had a great time.
Yeah,
A
my brother
lot.
lived there for 25 years, so I've been there a bunch
Yeah.
of times too.
Yeah, I loved it. It gets a bad rap, and it had pro baseball there from 1968, the Oakland A's, until 2024. So that's like 56 years, and there were some great seasons. Obviously, they won the three World Series in a row: 72, 73, 74 with Reggie Jackson, Vida Blue, Catfish Hunter, Sal Bando, Joe Rudy, and all
Yeah,
those guys. Wally
yeah.
Fingers.
Burt
Um,
Campanella. Yeah, they
right,
had some good players. Gene
right,
Tennis.
right.
Yeah,
They were a
Catfish Hunter, right?
tremendous team.
And a blue.
Three World Series, and then the next decade they also had three pennant winners in a row. They had the '88 team with Canseco, Mark McGuire,
Yeah,
Carney Lansford. They had a
Dennis
lot of good,
Eckersley. Dennis
yeah,
Eckersley.
Walt Weiss, Dennis Eckersley out of the pen, Tony La Russa as the manager.
Dave Stewart.
Right, Gabe
Lucille.
Stewart.
Lucille was on that team,
Right,
right?
right. Um, and then in the 2000s, they lost to the Reds in 1990. They got swept.
Yeah.
And then in the 2000s, they had the Money Ball with Billy Bean, and they made the playoffs a lot, and they were always entertaining. And
Yeah.
it was just that. Then that's one of the three teams you have the Oakland A's in baseball, and then you have the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders in football, from 1960 until whatever it was 2021 or whatever.
Well, they went
And
to LA for a few years and then came
yeah,
back.
they went. That's right. They went. They were in LA, and then they came back. But they were always, the silver and black will always be an Oakland team.
Yeah, I
With
agree, man. I mean, and the teams have only won in Oakland, including the Warriors, by the way.
right,
When they moved
right,
to Frisco a few years ago, they haven't won shit since they moved. I mean,
right,
they put the voodoo on 'em, the curse, the Oakland curse.
right,
And the Raiders, I mean, they were Oakland. I mean, were you kidding
right,
me? Kenneth
right,
Stabler, those guys?
right. John Madden with his shirt untucked in the
Right.
first quarter.
Madden, those
You
guys.
know,
It started tucked in, Ian. I mean, Nicky, when the game started, he was tucked in, and then
right,
he just went crazy on the sidelines.
right,
No, and then Steph Curry and those guys with the Warriors, they won what I think
right,
three, four championships, all
right,
in Oakland. So
right,
the fans really supported some teams that were I mean, the Warriors were really good in the 70s, then they stunk for a while. Then Curry came there, then they got good again. But the support's always been there. The A's were terrible for a lot of years. They were
right,
still showing up, and the Raiders always sold out. I mean, that was just
right,
a given. I mean,
right,
they had a fan base.
right,
So yeah, it's too bad, man. It just comes down to show you that sports, all it is about money now, man. It has nothing to do with loyalty to fans, cities, states, anything. It has players. It has to do about money and who's going to pay me the
right,
most. And Vegas has stolen now a second team from the city of Oakland, right?
right,
They
right.
got the Raiders now. They got the A's. Are they going to call them the Vegas A's?
I guess, I don't know.
They could call them the Aces.
Yeah,
In Vegas, gambling, all
yeah,
that. I don't know, but
right.
yeah, I mean
Well,
that's sad.
right,
It's dead. It's dead. And
right.
by the way, off topic for a minute, is there anything better than playoff baseball? So
Yeah,
good.
it's great, right? It's fantastic. Oh,
I love playoff
right,
baseball. My God, the games are so riveting. The
right,
Every pitch counts. It's just
right,
so good, man. Been watching a bunch of those games. All right,
right.
Nikki.
Oh, there's
Great
one
game.
other thing that's good to watch, and everyone can laugh at me. It's okay, but there is so much talent in the WNBA concentrated on these teams that the basketball, the quality of play is really high level.
Is it really? I haven't been
Yeah,
watching
and
the playoff games going on now. Yeah.
yeah, it's the teams they really play hard, and they're the best players in the world basically, and there's not
Yeah.
many teams, so it's really you got to be very good to be on the team, and it
Right.
shows.
Right. The NBA used to be shorter amount of teams, right?
Right,
And they said the quality was a lot better then. It wasn't as
right,
watered down the product. I know you've said that about the NFL as well.
right,
All right. Well,
right.
we will see you this weekend. Looking forward to homecoming. Got the
Yeah,
boys
yeah.
all set
We'll
up.
be together this weekend watching the USC game.
Yep. Can't wait. Good. Can't wait to see you. Hopefully you'll stay at my house and
Right.
we'll hang out
All right.
and have some cocktails. All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nick. I'll see you
Absolutely.
in a couple days.
Okay. See you soon. Look forward to it.
Bye bye.
Take care.